Let's get started in here.
My camera went out of focus for a second. That was scary. When you started singing.
That was a ghost.
A ghost.
What are we talking about today, Alyssa?
Today we are taking a journey to the Missouri State Penitentiary. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dearly Departed podcast. I am Alyssa.
And Haley.
And welcome back to another chaotic episode of us just being us, I guess. I never know how to intro these.
Well, they're not here for the intro. They're here for
The ghost.
the Yacht Fest that is about to start.
Yes, I have 7 pages.
God damn, girl! You've been busy.
I told y'all I learned how to read this year. So I guess get comfy, grab a blanket. It's fucking cold out here in Iowa.
Grab a beverage.
Got a beverage. I have my coffee.
I have my smoothie.
And I guess we'll just dive right in today.
Ooh, I'm about to dive in. Did you see Somo is making a comeback?
No.
Oh yeah. Somo's coming back.
That was
just in time for our
2016 part 2.
making.
I feel like I listened to him like casually and in group settings at like 17 years old. I should not have been listening to fucking songs at 17 years old.
I was listening to him on Tumblr and reading all of my fan fictions, so... Also, I just want to point out my t-shirt.
Yes.
It's not just a bush light.
It's a Bigfoot bush. Haha.
I got Bigfoot on my chest.
I got ghost.
I got this from Kegs and Eggs last
Kegs and Eggs
St.
is
Patrick's Day.
Crazy.
St. Patty's Day. I'm just kidding. It really wasn't Kegs and Eggs, but we did start drinking quite early in the morning.
We called ours Breakfast of Champions.
Kegs and Eggs, baby. And by Kegs and Eggs, I mean we wake up probably around 9 o'clock, start drinking, and then we're done by 5 p.m.
The first time Tyler and I ever hung out outside of work was, for one, accidental. 2, it was at Breakfast of Champions. We picked him up at his apartment, which, 2 years later I moved into. But we picked him up at his apartment. He was already drinking. It was 4 a.m.
Now that's the way to do it. The earlier you start, the earlier you can finish, and the earlier you can go to bed, is what I think.
So we all started drinking. Well, Tyler started drinking at 4 a.m. I started drinking at 6 a.m. We drank until the parade, the homecoming parade at 9. And we couldn't find Tyler. And then we all ended up back at his apartment. He was taking a nap. But then we partied until 8 p.m. I was hungover at 8 p.m.
That's the way that life should be. We should start drinking earlier in the day, wrap it up at a good time so I can shower and go to bed. And I wake up fine the next morning.
Yeah, I can't do the hangovers anymore, dude. I don't really drink anymore, period. So, straight edge over here.
I haven't drank since our housewarming party.
Oh, wow. When's the last time?
Because I don't really drink outside of socially anymore. Now, you put a little devil's lettuce in front of me, I'll partake.
I got 2 carts in my purse at all time. And about 5 feet that way, I got an edible.
I got a cart, and then I got 2 different gummies. Because sometimes you want to get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
But other times you just want to melt into that couch. And they're my favorite ever. Which, keep an eye out in, what month is that? April. April, we're going to do a little something fun. We're going to do some fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. I wish it was on a Friday, but unfortunately, that episode, it'll be like a clip, but it'll be on a Monday. I'll print it out on 420, so we'll have to do like 2 episodes that week.
I'm fine with that.
I am too.
Because what we do is we start partaking in the first. So by the time we get to the second,
Gone.
we're good.
You know, it's funny. My asthma is so bad, I literally just go, and I'm high for like 2 hours. Just go, that's it.
Girl, I wish.
I also, okay, so you said you haven't drank since your housewarming party. I haven't drank since Abby's wedding, which was in November.
Damn.
And then I have not smoked also since November.
Damn.
For one, I just don't have the time. Or, like, I haven't felt like it lately. Like I said, this year, sober October, but it's January. Dry January. I'm not even thinking about it, I'm just doing it.
Hell yeah.
Your girl is boring. But if you tell me to call out caffeine, arrgh.
I mean, technically caffeine is a drug, so.
It is, and I'm addicted to it.
Girl, same. I cannot function without it.
This is my second coffee today. Also, I talked on the phone with my uncle like 2 days ago, and we all have thick Jersey accents. My accent has been back since I talked on the phone with my uncle.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear you read all this stuff then. What are we talking about today, Alyssa?
Today, we are taking a journey to the Missouri State Penitentiary.
Heck yeah, more Midwest.
Woohoo! Before Alcatraz, there was Missouri State Penitentiary. For 168 years, this place held stories that the state would rather forget. Women inmates who went on to fight for prisoners' rights, executions by cyanide, inmate schemes, daring escape attempts, and brutal mistreatments. Even a heavyweight boxing champion of the world once lived behind these walls. They called it the bloodiest 47 acres in America. And tonight, we're stepping in. Ooh.
Ooh, I'm about to dive in.
I will place a trigger warning here.
Here.
For abuse, suicide, death, violence, and murder.
Murder? Judas, no.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Fuck me, dude.
Yes.
No, goodness gracious. Okay, are you ready to hear the next 7.5 pages? 6.5 pages,
7.5.
Huh?
Like, sick on me.
I'm sorry. What?
Thicker than my smoothie.
I don't think anything can be thicker than your smoothie. She sounded thick. In 1836, along the Missouri River in Jefferson City, Missouri, the state of Missouri opened up the Missouri State Penitentiary. Take a shot every time I say Missouri.
Oh, no, that told me twice.
The prison housed inmates for 168 years and was the oldest operating prison west of the Mississippi before closing for good in 2004. The first inmate was named Wilson Edison. He was sentenced for stealing a watch. By 1932, they housed 5,300 inmates, which made Missouri State Pen hold the largest inmate population in America and was considered one of the most successful prisons in the country. Throughout the years, the inmates sought a sense of normalcy. They formed baseball teams, played mini golf, attended church, and worked long days in one of their dozens of factories. So far, it doesn't seem that bad. you know?
Yeah, it seems like a little community.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not little. I mean, that's over 5,000 people, but...
It is a very, very large, like, well, it's 47 acres, you know? It's huge. Though they had all these outlets, there was an intense amount of neglect and abuse. The guards would whip the inmates for any reason or just no reason at all. In 1954, 2 inmates faked sickness to attract attention. When 2 guards entered the hall, the inmates overpowered them and stole their keys. The 2 ran along the cell block, releasing other inmates as they pursued a jailhouse informant. Why are words hard? I was doing so good.
Florida education.
They pursued a jailhouse informant in Housing Unit 3. There was a riot where they stormed the deputy warden's office. Armed troops were on the roof, and they had to open fire with machine guns, riot guns, to force the prisoners to flee the prison yard. Many inmates were injured by the gunfire. 4 died. After the riot, they added a middle section of bars to Unit 3, along with extra caging, so they weren't able to get out if they tried this again.
Damn.
And this is I think the second or third riot they had. But there's so many people in this damn prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was another riot about 20 years earlier that was called Tired of the Irish Stew. In an article by the Irish Times, they wrote, some 500 more convicts at the Missouri State Penitentiary mutinied today. 750 prisoners in the same institution struck yesterday, following a refusal of their demand for grilled meat instead of the continual Irish stew, and refused to leave the dining hall, though they were subsequently persuaded to disperse peacefully by the governor. The prisoners today, who demanded better food and better working qualities, down tools at all the prison factories, they were quickly marched back to their cells. The governor announced tonight that he had discovered an organized plot amongst the convicts responsible for today's riots to set fire to the prison factories and make their escape. Just because they didn't want Irish stew that day.
I mean, if that's what you're being fed day in and day out, I can understand.
But, I thought it was just crazy that they were like, you know what? Let's set this bitch on fire.
They're gonna grill their own meat.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God, I didn't mean it in that way.
There is no cannibalism in this story, ma'am.
Apparently, one way or another, I'm gonna find a way to put cannibalism in there.
Yes, you are. That's so funny.
I didn't mean it in that way.
Alright. During its operation, Housing Unit 1 was a place of cruelty towards women. Women were only housed in Housing Unit 1. Women were punished just the same as the men, some even worse because guards could do anything that they wanted in here. Women were forced to have their babies in prison, and the children were required to live on the prison grounds until their mothers were released on parole.
Oh, damn.
In 1919, 20-year-old Minnie Eddy was locked in a blind cell, or also isolation, for 21 days. She was fed once a day with a piece of bread the size of a cracker and given half of a teacup of water. She had no toilet, only a bucket, and when she was finally able to eat again, she died 2 days later from a perforated colon.
Jeez.
I'll get to it later. I was going to say, I've actually stepped foot into that solitary confinement where they housed her. It's very heavy in there. But we'll get to my stories later.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot. There was many people who served time at this prison who would go on to be well known in the world. Again in 1919, Katie Richards O'Hare began serving a federal sentence at the Missouri State Pen that would change her life and contribute to reforms in inmate labor practices. In July of 1918, O'Hare, chairman of Socialist Labor Party, gave a speech in North Dakota after she was indicted under the new Federal Espionage Act, convicted of espionage, and sentenced to prison. While incarcerated, O'Hare was forced to work 50 hours a week in a clothing factory and prohibited from communicating with her husband and her 4 children. In 1920, President Woodrow Wilson commuted O'Hare's sentence and she was released. She later received a full pardon from President Calvin Coolidge, but her life was forever changed by her experience at the Missouri State Pen. She abandoned socialist and pursued prison reform efforts. In 1939, she was appointed by the California governor to the position of Assistant Director of California Department of Penology. Her reform efforts had a major impact on California's penal policies, and many of these reforms were implemented throughout the country. Alongside O'Hare in Housing Unit 1, Emma Goldman was serving one of several imprisonments for charges ranging from inciting a riot to advocating the use of birth control to opposition of World War I. At the time, the government called Goldman the ablest and most dangerous anarchist in the country. She was pursued through much of her life by 2 of the most notorious law enforcement officials in American history, Anthony Comstock and J. Edgar Hoover. She's credited with having a tremendous influence on the founders of Planned Parenthood and American Civil Liberties Union. I don't know why I keep combining words today. I did that earlier at work too. Not surprising, while in prison, Goldman was known as an agitator, stirring rebellion among the women prisoners. Prison administrators were glad to see her leave in 1919 after serving nearly 2 years. She was arraigned before a U.S. commissioner. When she testified, she did not have the money to pay her $10,000 fine, but she was told she was free to go anyway. They did not want her there. The 2 famous activists, Goldman and O'Hare, left their mark at the penitentiary, and their impact would continue to be felt across the country for the years following, and still to this day. 107 years later?
Damn.
Yeah. They did.
Quick math over here.
Thanks. I was like, how old are we? How old was I in 2019? 21? That was how I did math. I can do math, but I can't read.
I can't do either.
Did I tell you that my grandma was a math teacher and my dad went to college for a little bit to do math?
No, I did not know that.
My camera is out of focus again. There we go.
It's a ghost.
It's actually just me drinking my coffee, which is now cold.
Turn it into iced coffee.
Okay, where did I leave off? While it's presented its share of mistreatments and hardships, the prison also offered some opportunity. Charles Liston, an Arkansas-born repeat theft, was thrown into Housing Unit 4 at the age of 22 for armed robbery. His first serious conviction. During his time outside the cell, Charles Liston, also known as Sonny, linked up with Father Stevens, a priest who oversaw the prison gym. Stevens reportedly appreciated Liston's physicality and took him under his wing, teaching him the techniques of box. Hello, brain, work. Teaching him the techniques of boxing. 2 years into his sentence, Liston was freed on parole and began his ascent into the world of heavyweight boxing championships. During his career, he faced many notable boxers of the era, including Muhammad Ali. It's crazy. There's a couple more I'm gonna talk about, but it's crazy how many infamous people came out of this small prison. Well, it's not small, but Jeff City is small, and it's
this prison in bumfuck nowhere.
Literally, in literally the center of Missouri.
My previous stands.
Yeah. Infamous bank robber Charles Arthur Pretty Boy Floyd was locked up in Jefferson City in 1925 for payroll robbery. Years before, he would kill 5 people outside the Union Railway Station in the historical Kansas City Massacre. He arrived at the Missouri State Pen in 1925 after pleading guilty for his first offense, a $12,000 St. Louis payroll robbery. Upon his release in 1929, he continued wreaking havoc across the Midwest, robbing banks, murdering in cold blood with a notorious band of outlaws. By 1933, Floyd was wanted in several states, known to the police as the most dangerous man alive. In Missouri, he was wanted for 3 murders. He was wanted in Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo!
For killing a policeman there. Numerous Oklahoma bank robberies were credited to Floyd and his gang. He also was wanted in that state for murdering another officer. Police officers were warned that he was a heavily armed man with machine guns and wore a steel vest for protection.
Sorry, I had to get that out of my system.
Is this man your hero?
No. No.
No.
No. No. Clear. The condensation.
In June.
Emma.
Tyler's in a meeting and I just keep laughing so loudly.
I'm sorry, I'm like this right now.
He's fine. He'll be fine. I have fun.
Exactly. We're having fun.
We're just excited that I could read today.
For the most part.
The big words I'm doing fine at, the small words that I'm doing bad. In June of 1933, Floyd and his gang continued on a killing spree across Missouri and Oklahoma and were identified as prime suspects in the attempt to free Frank Nash, an infamous Oklahoma outlaw, which resulted in a fatal shooting of 4 lawmen. A massive manhunt ensued for Floyd and his fellow killers. Floyd managed to elude law enforcement for weeks before he was apprehended at a farm and shot dead on the spot after trying to flee. Sucks.
None of the animals got shot.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. I feel like they would have put that in there. I would have put that in there. I don't know.
I don't know.
So going back to Charles Liston, also known as Sonny, he was in the same building where he was held. There was a steep staircase that leads to the dungeon that's also known as the Hole. It's exactly how it sounds, but honestly a little worse. It's cold and empty, made of completely of stone, no windows and heavy cell doors. Behind these doors are cells that are about 4 feet wide and 5 feet deep. There's about 8 cells down there in this dark dungeon. They would hold about a dozen men down there. No beds, no bunks, no blankets, no toilets, just darkness and stone. Men would be down here for weeks at a time, not even a glimpse of sunlight for days, weeks, months, even years at sometimes. These people went insane, killing each other, some dying of starvation. A few even committed suicide by bashing their heads into the stone walls just to end their misery. They do call it misery for a reason. It's Missouri. But
I am in misery.
right outside of this dungeon are the showers, but there's also a plaque on the wall that recalls the years that J.B. Firebug Johnson served in the dungeon. He was in there from 1883 to 1900. Firebug is one of the most notorious of all the inmates to ever serve a sentence at the penitentiary. Johnson's attempt to escape several times, but was best known for his most notorious act, setting a fire that destroyed more than $500,000 worth of property and the death of several inmates. Johnson was convicted of arson in Cole County Court and given an additional 12 years after he was locked in the dungeon for many of those years. After being locked in the dungeon for many years. After he was released, Firebug wrote a book called Buried Alive for 18 years in the Missouri State Penitentiary. Some say that the Firebug still wanders the dungeon, just lingering in the place he spent his most time. Some people even say in one of the cells you can feel someone's breath against your cheek. He's just chilling. But he was in that dungeon for 18 years.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And I'll send you pictures in a bit, but that dungeon is terrifying. Which I also have a story of what Tyler saw in that dungeon. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
So this last, I believe it's the last famous inmate that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to say his name, and you're going to tell me if you know it, because we did learn about it in school. James Earl Ray. Does it sound familiar at all?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay. Well,
history class was kind of a blur. We were very busy yapping.
We were busy yapping. That's what they all get for putting me and you next to each other.
Literally.
In 1959, Ray and an accomplice held up a Kroger store in St. Louis. After being caught, tried, and convicted, Ray was sentenced to 20 years at the Missouri State Pen. He had previously served time in Joliet and Pontiac prisons in Illinois and Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary in Kansas. After several escape attempts at the Missouri State Pen, Ray made one final escape plan. In 1967, he reported to his job in the prison bakery early. and oh my god, and was helped into a large box that was used to ship loaves of bread. Soon, a truck drove up to pick up supply and several boxes, including the one container that Ray was in. He was loaded up, and the truck left the penitentiary. It was nearly a year later, on Thursday, April 4th, 1968, that Ray assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Ray was amazed at the publicity surrounding his deed. He thought that killing the king would make him a hero, but instead he became a hunted man. Ray was soon apprehended and convicted of murder in the first degree and sentenced to 99 years in prison. He was sent to maximum security in a facility in Tennessee where he tried to escape again multiple times. In 1991, James Earl Ray was transferred to Riverbend Maximum Security Facility in Nashville. He remained on an escape status on the records of the Missouri Department of Corrections. And oddly enough, I finished writing this on MLK Day.
I was just about to say, that's kind of funny that we're talking about this now, because yesterday was MLK Day.
Yeah, I was writing it, and I was like, today is MLK Day, okay. But I don't even know if they even went looking for him after he escaped, but, like, that was a good escape plan, my guy. You actually made it out. One of few that actually made it out alive.
I mean, good for him.
Yeah.
Persistent.
Determination. There was many escapes at the Missouri State Pen, but not all as successful. On October 22nd, in 2003, something went terribly wrong inside the Missouri State Pen. What started as a normal workday in the prison's ice plant ended in murder and a nearly successful escape attempt. Inmate Toby Viles was killed by two men who worked alongside him, Shannon Phillips and Christopher Sims. Phillips later pled guilty, while Sims was there when it happened, and to this day, he never stood trial. But that story doesn't stop here. 4 days later, Phillips and Sims were found hiding in a room that they had secretly built for an extended stay. The space was so well hidden that the staff had no idea it existed until a corrections officer accidentally punched a hole through the pegboard wall, revealing a small entrance behind it. The plan was to wait it out until the prison officially closed and then slip away unnoticed. They were very close to pulling it off.
Dang.
Because I believe the prison closed early in 2004. So, like, they were just vibing. Maybe it's just me, but I couldn't come up with a creative plan to escape anything.
Me either, man.
Are you Googling it?
No, I was making a note of something before my brain forgot.
What was it?
An idea for like a short.
Oh, okay. So
we can talk about that later.
Okay. So now, let's head to death row.
Finally.
Oh, you're not gonna want to say that. Before April of 1989, Missouri's male death row was housed at the Missouri State Pen. It was underground, cut off from the rest of the prison, completely isolated from the general population. Honestly, as it should be. Death row inmates never left that unit. Every service they needed was brought to them. Meals, medical care, and even religious services all happened inside those walls. The only time they ever saw anything of the outside world was 1 hour a day, spent alone in a small, fenced-in yard next to the unit. Even the state later admitted how bad these conditions were. The prison was old and crumbling, never designed to hold people this way. It was just unbearable for the inmates. It was also dangerous for the staff. After a legal challenge, changes were finally made. Inmates could earn small privileges based on behavior, medical care was adjusted, and privacy rooms were created so death row inmates could attend religious services. They housed the death row in Unit 3, the same unit that they had to give extra security that I mentioned earlier. They held the inmates here from 1914 to 1989, the death row inmates. This is also where they have the most paranormal activity recorded. Most commonly, people see a 7-foot tall shadow figure and another figure called the Crawler. No one knows where the crawler came from. Some say it's a former inmate. Some think it's just residual energy left behind by decades of suffering. Why did my voice crack like I felt bad for the crawler?
Because you probably do.
I do.
It's you, Alyssa.
I am the crawler. And some believe it's not a ghost at all, but just the residual energy of the prison itself, remembering how people moved through it. Which I'm sure people were going crazy and crawling around in there. I know I would if I was on death row.
Yeah.
So aside from the shadow figure, the tall one, and the crawler, there is another pair of ghosts that are known to be haunting death row's area as well. A pair of violent lovers named Bonnie Heady and Carl Austin Hall. In 1953, the two kidnapped and murdered a young boy, a crime that shocked the entire country. Their punishment was death by gas chamber. On the day of the execution of Bonnie and Carl, they were strapped in the chamber side by side. They died together at the same moment. Today, many believe their spirits still linger in this cell block, especially cell 14. Visitors and investigators have reported sudden and vicious cold spots, low growling sounds, and one of the most unsettling experiences of all. They feel unseen hands gently touching the back of their head, only to be shoved forward.
Jesus.
Paranormal investigator teams have been coming here for years trying to capture proof of Bonnie and Carl on camera. No one has ever managed to get video evidence, but audio is another story. Using recording equipment, investigators have captured EVPs again and again. The same three words keep coming through: stay, love, and kill.
That. Oh. That he beat my GB.
I know, I got chilly willies.
Ooh, I got goosebumps on my arm right now.
Good. I'm glad I'm scaring you. Obviously, with death row, and that these people were sentenced to the gas chambers, obviously there was executions on property. The penitentiary had a gas chamber on property where 39 prisoners were executed. In January of 1989, inmate George Tiny Mercer was executed. It was the last execution to take place at the Missouri State Pen, and the first execution by means of lethal injection. The execution did take place in the gas chamber, but they lethally injected him instead of the cyanide. I thought that was interesting. And if you go over to our Instagram and you look at my carousel of pictures, you can see a picture of me and my friend sitting in the exact same chairs as all of these people were executed in. They have not changed the chairs. I sat where people died.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I've also sat in a chair where people were killed. At the Michigan Horror Museum, they have a electric chair.
Fancy.
Now, it doesn't go bzzz kind of thing. That's just a lawsuit waiting to happen. But
yeah.
It was an actual electric chair.
Spoopy.
So that's fun. Spoopy.
In total, at the Missouri State Pen, there was over 2,000 deaths. And those are just the ones that were reported.
2,000. Damn.
That's like a little under half of how many people they held at the prison.
That's crazy.
It's so sad. Anyway, to the fun part. Let's talk about moment of silence, and now let's talk about the paranormal stuff that everybody has been waiting for. Obviously,
this is the reason that we're all here.
Yes. I have mentioned a couple of paranormal sightings, but I have some quick honorable mentions as well. Prison deaths at Missouri State were exceptionally violent. One inmate named John McBroom had to run afoul. I copied and pasted this, I'm not gonna lie. Some inmates he was sharing a cell block with believed him to be believed to be an informer. Stop texting me. For the prison guards. During breakfast early one morning, a pair of inmates charged into his cell using a pair of broken scissors as a weapon. They stabbed him repeatedly in the eyes, the skull, and he ended up bleeding to death before he was ever found. Years later, however, visitors to the prison have reported seeing a pale white apparition that appears to be a man bleeding profusely out of his eye sockets and wandering the cell walkways. Very violent. Very violent.
Jeez.
Just above Hall A, in cell 48, an inmate was supposedly bludgeoned to death with a sledgehammer by another inmate. Visitors to this cell have reported an overwhelming sense of dread here, and even a heavy unseen weight being pressed into their bodies. Just the top of the building in the control room, there's a spirit of a former prison medic that haunts the area, known as Fast Jack. A white-colored spirit not only had been spotted gliding past watchful visitors, but also had been responsible for opening and closing and even locking some cell doors from the control room, much to the shock of paranormal investigators. I only found one story from Reddit online. But there's thousands of YouTubers that have gone to the Missouri State Pen. I have gone to the Missouri State Pen. I will insert photos. I'll send you some right now.
Here. Waiting for them to come through.
Well, while you're waiting for those to come through, I will read you the story I found on Reddit. Before that, I will say if you are interested in going, I think it's $25 for a 2 to 3 hour tour in the state pen. It's really interesting, and they also have overnight tours that are only $100 a person. So
that's really not that bad.
It's an 8-hour tour, and you have a guide. They give you EVPs and stuff. I definitely want to do that. Okay, so the story I found on Reddit was labeled Experience at the Missouri State Penitentiary. When I was 16, my class and I took a trip to the Missouri State Penitentiary in Jefferson City, Missouri. We were traveling as a group for our AP government class. I was with friends in the old jail. While we were in the old jail, they had us walk to the different levels of the building where all the cells were, and they would sound an alarm and have all the cells closed and everyone walk down the flight of stairs. However, when I was walking down the stairs, I slowly felt what I thought was 5 separate fingers touch my lower back, almost my butt. My friends were behind me and would go for a round every once in a while and tease each other. So I assumed they were teasing me. So I turned up to look at them and said, "Hey guys, did you grab me?" And they were a flight and a half above me. There was no way for them to rush down, grab me, and then run all the way back up the stairs without making a noise. My friend who was in front of me, he raised his hand and said, "I didn't do anything." He obviously couldn't reach around, and to this day, I still don't know what grabbed me. All I know is the rest of the time it felt like someone was watching me, and I couldn't sit in the gas chamber chair, as if something was just holding me back. There was no way I was able to sit, and eventually I had to leave early before everyone because I felt like I was going to vomit. I tried to explain my situation for years and still have no idea what happened to this day. All I know is that ghost wanted to be really friendly and obviously did not like the gas chamber.
Oh, the ghost Protecting them
I know.
from dying.
They grabbed them, so they didn't, like, fall, probably.
They were just trying to be nice. They just wanted to be your friend.
Did you get the photos? Now for my stories.
Your personal experiences?
Yes. So I went on a 2-hour tour for my 24th birthday with my boyfriend, my friend Morgan, and her friend Erin. So, like, when you walk in, you check in, you sign the waivers, and then immediately they start telling you about this prison doctor that roams the lobby area, and that he doesn't say much, he just, like, waves and wanders. They did warn us before going on the tour to make sure to not close any cell doors, because they are old, and you will get stuck, and they will bill you for the, like, locksmith that they have to call.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, no one touch those. Oh, it sounded like they all sent.
Yeah, I just got them.
Shocker again. I did not personally experience anything on this tour. I never experienced anything on my damn ghost tours. I did feel eyes on me the entire time in the women's block, though. Like, I kept, like, feeling like in the cells, people were just staring at me. Did not like that feeling. When we went down into the dungeon, they, turn off the lights for, like, a couple minutes, and they make you go completely silent so you can feel what the prisoners go through. Even though it's a couple minutes, like, it's still haunting. Like I said, it's, like, 4 feet wide, 5 feet deep, not very big. They only have, like, a couple chairs in there, and I think they have, like, 6 people sit into the, like, cell at a time. There was only a couple chairs, and my fat ass can't walk for very long, so I sat on the floor because all of the other chairs were taken. And I got bad knees, and I was like, I'm gonna sit my ass down. I was next to Tyler, and his eyes adjusted to the darkness, and he swears that he saw someone laying on the floor next to me. I was the only person sitting down, and I was also the closest person to the exit of the cell. There was absolutely no one sitting next to me, and he didn't tell me this until after we had left the dungeon, thank goodness. But I will say, being in the hole makes you feel very sad and, like, very heavy. It's very heavy down there. And if you do go on the tour, your tour guide might show you a photo of a woman who is taking, like, selfies down there, and she got photobombed by a ghost.
Oh?
Yeah. And I thought that was cool. So the hole was very heavy, obviously, like the dungeon. Death row was even heavier. Shocker. The guides actually, like, they line you up, and you, like, stand in, like, the little hallway of death row between, like, the cells and the bars, whatever. The guides call out for the 7-foot shadow figure, telling him to, like, do something. I did not get the privilege of seeing him, but when we were leaving the building, my friend Morgan, we were the last people to, like, leave death row, and she thought she saw a guy going to look at the cells up a level, because, like, we go up the stairs because death row is in the basement. And just being the sweetie she is, she was walked past him, and we were all leaving, so she was going to turn around and be like, hey, like, we're all leaving, I don't want you to get lost. In the couple of feet that she took, that man disappeared.
Like, just vanished?
Yeah. She maybe took 3 feet before turning around, trying to, like, being like, come on. That man was no longer there. And I, being the mom of the group, I was like, hey, girl, what are you doing? I don't want you to get lost. And she went, did you not see that guy? And I went, we need to get out of this building now. And we were talking about it yesterday morning because I was like, hey, like, can you, like, retell me the story? It's been a couple of years. I want to hear it from your point of view. And she described the man to me as a man in his, like, late 30s, early 40s, with a black coat on. And then she was like, he was, like, kind of older looking, not really. And then I showed her a picture of Carl Austin Hall, and she said that was the guy that she saw.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And after you go to death row, you immediately leave to go to the gas chambers, and her and I eagerly went and sat in those gas chamber chairs, and I honestly didn't feel anything in the gas chamber, like, place. Tyler said he felt really heavy. Now, looking back at it, I'm like, Alyssa, why the fuck did you sit in that? But 24-year-old me was happy as can be. And again, I would happily go back to the Missouri State Pen, and I want to experience something for myself. Let me show you what Carl looks like.
Honestly, put us together in a place like that, maybe our energies will allow something to come through.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully. Here, let me just screen share with you. Maybe. Share my screen. That's the guy she saw.
That is a middle-aged man.
And that was Bonnie.
Damn.
But, like, there's his black jacket and everything.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm. And I asked her, obviously, I was like, can I say this on the podcast? And she was like, duh, Alyssa, you have a paranormal podcast, and we did a paranormal thing together.
That's crazy!
Yes. I truly do enjoy, like, the history and the spooks of the Missouri State Pen. I definitely want to go again, and obviously I would vlog it if we do go. But I want to go again, for sure.
I'm so down to go.
Yes. We could do it overnight. We have so many plans to do something. Some sort of investigation.
Do it.
Yeah. We need money first. Anyway, subscribe to our Patreon. I'm just kidding.
Subscribe to
us
on everything.
Yes. The Dearly Departed Pod. On everything. And if you guys have any stories of the Missouri State Pen, let me know. Oh, I did also see another story of a guy that's not spooky or anything. He proposed to his girlfriend at the gas chambers.
That's so romantic. I love that so much.
Apparently everybody on the tour was like, what the fuck? And they turned around and they're like, we're really into this. And in my head, I was like, that's me and Tyler.
I mean,
that's me and you, actually.
Brittany's husband, he proposed to her in a cemetery.
I know. I remember seeing those photos. And it's so them. It's so perfect. I don't think I could be proposed to in a cemetery. That scares me a little bit. But it's so them. And they're spooky babies.
Yes.
Well, that's all I have today.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all of this information and your fun stories.
Of course.
I really want to know what was laying on the ground next to you.
Some residual energy, I'm assuming. But Tyler saw, like, a full body laying next to me in the dungeon.
And we invest in an XLS camera. And we go.
Yeah.
We make you sit on the ground again.
Yeah, because, like, I got bad knees, bad hips, and don't get me wrong, I was sitting on, like, a stone floor. But I was like, I gotta sit. I'm not gonna make these other people sit or, like, get out of their chairs so my fat ass can sit down. But, yeah, so I made a little friend in the dungeon. That's my buddy. Maybe it was Firebug, my homie. Also, you can buy the book, The Buried Alive, but Tyler warned me, it is very racist. Very racist. So, you do read it. That's another trigger warning.
Warned.
Yeah. Very racist book. But he did write it in the early, like, 1900s. So, they were all racist back then.
I mean, they still are.
I was gonna say they are still all racist now. Anyway, thanks guys so much for watching. If you have any stories, email us at thedearlydepartedpod@gmail.com. Follow us at thedearlydepartedpod on TikTok and Instagram. We need more friends. We need more spooky friends. Talk to us, please. We will.
Someone, anyone, please.
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 Anything else to add?
I don't think so. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Stay spooky. Are we doing it? Are we doing it?
Sure.
Okay.
On 3 or after 3?
You tell me.
On 3.
Okay.
Who's counting?
I will.
Okay.
1, 2. Stay spooky. You didn't do it.
Fuck! I didn't do it. Alright. After 3.
1, 2, 3. Stay spooky.
You didn't do it!
I was waiting for you. I did it 3 times without you. Anyway, subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.